Bueno, buenos días a todas, todos y todes. Este es el Centro de Investigaciones de Diseño Industrial. Tenemos hoy una charla con una de nuestras egresadas y trae un proyecto muy interesante que es el Studio.abstime, con sede en Alemania, fundado por Michelle Bocker, exalumno del CIDI, y Ana Balthasar. Studio.abstime explora la práctica artística en torno a la tecnología, vinculando experiencias inmersivas, creadas con herramientas como la inteligencia artificial y o arte regenerativo basado en algoritmos en forma de instalaciones visuales y sonoras, entrelazando arte, naturaleza y lenguaje computacional. La investigación de Studio.abstime parte de la observación del tiempo en el espacio y gira en torno a la idea de hacer visibles percepciones pluriversas entre la naturaleza y la tecnología, el movimiento y la percepción subjetiva del tiempo. El dúo se centra en las perspectivas contemporáneas del arte de los nuevos medios. Muchas gracias por estar aquí. Thank you very much. Entonces, comenzamos.
Bueno, hola a todos, muchas gracias Blanca y muchas gracias a Mauricio también por la invitación y por hacer esta plática posible. Y como ya comentó esta Blanca ahorita, pues sí, hoy vamos a hablar de las tecnologías inmersivas y bueno, básicamente lo que ha sido como nuestra experiencia profesional hasta ahora y cómo ha sido como toda, exacto, como esta práctica artística que hemos tomado y la tecnología que pues llevamos a cabo. Pues como ya lo mencionamos un poco, somos un estudio de arte y diseño con base en Colonia, Alemania. Aproximadamente pues tenemos 7-8 meses de estar juntas, trabajando, colaborando. Exploramos en sí las prácticas creativas en torno a la tecnología, utilizando herramientas como es la inteligencia artificial y sistemas autónomos no humanos. También creamos experiencias de instalaciones visuales y sonoras, donde entrelazamos el arte, naturaleza y lenguaje informático. Y pues sí, tenemos el enfoque en lo que es el arte de nuevos medios y el arte generativo. Y pues bueno, un poquito de mi background, como Blanca ya mencionó, soy una exalumna CIDI, entonces soy diseñadora industrial, pero también tuve la oportunidad de estudiar en Colonia, en KIST, International School of Design, donde me gradué como diseñadora integral. Y pues de ahí fue bueno, el camino que tomé para conectarme un poco con la tecnología y con todas estas posibilidades de programación de código y llevarlo a experiencias inmersivas. Y bueno, this is Ana.
Hello, my name is Ana Balthasar. Actually, I don't speak Spanish, so I kind of guess, like, this is the introduction. Yeah, about me, like, I'm also living in Germany. I study theater and art in Vienna and in Rome, so also in Germany. So I'm coming from this background, and our research is a nice combination of our experiences. So this is like actually the artistic duo.
Y pues bueno, para dar un poco de introducción, que es como el arte de los nuevos medios, que es el New Media Art en inglés, que básicamente son obras de arte diseñadas y producidas mediante tecnologías de medios electrónicos. Entonces puede ser un output, un resultado de infografías, animaciones, arte interactivo, robótica, impresión 3D o arte sonoro. Existen diferentes medios como es la realidad virtual, realidad aumentada, mapeo de video, análisis de audio en tiempo real y motion tracking. Bueno, lo vamos a platicar un poquito más adelante, pero pues como ustedes pueden ver en el video del lado derecho, en este caso es una LED wall, ¿no? Una pantalla de LED donde se está proyectando uno de los visuales para, como ya dije, un proyecto que hicimos. Y bueno, el arte generativo es, de hecho, es el uso de los sistemas autónomos no humanos. Como si bien lo dice, autónomos viene de una forma independiente, que es el lenguaje computacional, donde al final creas una obra de arte, por así decirlo, basado en parámetros, bueno, parámetros que define el artista. y pues bueno, la computadora o este lenguaje binario computacional empieza a generar este resultado. Y pues bueno, creo que nos vamos a enfocar más en este software que es Touch Designer. Creo que le agarramos demasiado amor a este software porque realmente fue, bueno, yo lo descubrí cuando estaba escribiendo la tesis en Alemania, que bueno, si quieren pueden saber más en mi sitio web de cómo lo hice, porque se me hizo un software que tiene muchas posibilidades de conectar todos estos medios digitales, donde puedes tener un renders, donde puedes tener flujos de trabajo demasiado estables, donde también no necesariamente saber de programación tan complejo como es Python, porque son un programa visual basado en nodos. También te da la posibilidad de estar trabajando con diferentes pantallas o tener este video mapping, o crear animaciones o controlar estos parámetros, como ya lo comentamos. Y creo que también una de las cosas más importantes es que se puede generar en tiempo real. Entonces, si tienes exhibiciones, performances, instalaciones, todo el input puede ser procesado en tiempo real. Entonces, creo que lo hace eso demasiado especial. Y pues bueno, también que puedes conectarlo con diferentes softwares y también con diferentes dispositivos. Entonces justo pasó esto de que pues yo conocí a Ana y estamos hablando de que pese a que sí es creatividad o arte, pero venimos de un background diferente, o sea, ella como en teatro, en cine, pero al final ella también estaba usando este software. Y como que nos dimos cuenta que podríamos como unir fuerzas, y también en específico como siendo artistas mujeres, que a lo mejor nunca tuvimos esta enseñanza de programar o de ciencias computacionales, pero creemos como que este software es demasiado como que amigable, y como decir como que podemos unir fuerzas o unir como nuestras diferentes áreas creativas y realizar proyectos juntas.
Yeah, I guess Michelle mentioned that we are both like females in technology, and we like also get to know us because we both use Touch Design and Adobe Cloud and like several softwares in common. We wanted to show you this piece. It's with the name like Beziehungsweisen, what means in German relationships. And this piece was a study because we thought like, how can we create, or can machines create art? So we programmed in a way or developed like a generative audio piece and connected with generated visual art, so it kind of can play forever. If you think about it in a way that it has like backgrounds, like this kind of art, it's in the 50s, so there were John Cage and Nigel Pike, like radio, and all TVs were rising, and they played with this. So the idea is like there's the coinstance, and you set the parameters and you structure the piece. And when you think about it, it's this piece is considering the space, but also the technology and the real time. So maybe we can like play it. we continue now with another project where we go more deep in like how to develop or like also create immersiveness by using methods and tools.
Yeah, this is another project. Este es otro proyecto que se realizó en noviembre del año pasado. Fue para el Museum, que es como una noche de museos, que es algo que se lleva a cabo en Colonia, que es cuando, bueno, creo que también en la Ciudad de México tenemos algo parecido, que muchos museos o hay muchas exhibiciones durante un día y es en la noche, sí, ¿verdad? Entonces tuvimos la oportunidad, fuimos invitadas por justo que se llama el Motion Experience Lab, que es igual parte de la universidad, para realizar esta escultura que también tenía esto basado en el video y el arte generativo. Básicamente esto fue no solo una escultura del mapeo, sino también una instalación interactiva basada en una red generativa entre espacio físico y virtual. Pues bueno, un poquito para hablar de herramientas y procesos. Pues bueno, como ustedes pueden ver ahí, es la escultura metálica que fue soldada, fue diseñada, porque primero queríamos crear una especie de supercomputer, un poquito como estéticamente hablando, como cuál es ese proceso, cuáles son como los intestinos de la computadora, cómo se está procesando, como que todo eso. Pues bueno, básicamente fue el metal, fue obviamente el acabado de las, ¿cómo se dice? Como de las lámparas que ustedes ven abajo, y pues bueno, al final como que todo el acabado de las cajas, ¿no? Que son básicamente cajas de paquetería. Después lo que se realizó, que lo van a ver en la siguiente diapositiva, es un método que se llama fotogrametría. No sé si ustedes están familiarizados con eso, pero es justo para el scan 3D, que justo lo necesitábamos como para ese mapeo, para que fuera más exacto llevarlo a Touch Designer. La fotogrametría es básicamente, tú tomas, ya sea, bueno, hay aplicaciones con inteligencia artificial donde solo tomas un video, pero si no, debes de tomar fotografías alrededor de toda la pieza, y lo que hace es que el programa, como se dice, como procesa todas estas imágenes y crea un modelo 3D. Sí. Entonces, pues justo eso como que nos ayudó un poco a que fuéramos como que más exactos para todo este mapping. Y bueno, además, o sea, porque ustedes pueden ver como que en la parte de atrás hay una parte interactiva donde estábamos usando el motion tracking a través del Kinect para que la audiencia o para que las personas que se acercaran, pues hubiera como una reacción en los visuales. Exacto, entonces ustedes pueden ver aquí un poco como es del lado izquierdo está como el point cloud que se hizo basado en este 3D scan, y como al final se fue conectando con Touch Designer para proyectar las texturas o los videos o que se quisiera hacer. Igualmente, como Ana lo mencionó un poco acerca de la música y todo, otro programa que también usamos se llama Ableton. Hay una versión gratuita, pero ya también, obviamente, si quieres herramientas más pro y todo eso, pues sí hay que pagar. Pero la ventaja es que esto también lo puedes conectar con Touch Designer. Entonces, lo que puede pasar es que Ableton, siendo una estación de trabajo para audio digital, afecta a Touch Designer o Touch Designer afecta a Ableton. Entonces, al final también tienes como que la música, ¿no? Que también puede ser de tiempo real cambiando, y como ya dice, no siempre va a ser como que el mismo ciclo de la música, de los sonidos. Y algo también, parte de esta exhibición, y es algo que también queremos como que platicar, es que pues es todo, ¿cómo decirlo? Como este pensamiento filosófico, teórico que también nosotros tenemos detrás de nuestra práctica profesional, o que lo intentamos hacer. En este caso nos basamos mucho en ¿cómo decirlo? Como en sistemas naturales, o en sí la naturaleza, y cómo es esta traslación de lo físico con lo digital, y qué estamos haciendo nosotros como humanos no solo con la comunicación entre humano-computadora, sino naturaleza con computadora, que al final, bueno, se consideran como no humanos, pero también como que nosotras queremos como que comunicar estos como procesos matemáticos y que también son desafiantes y como dónde está la conciencia que estamos haciendo con la naturaleza en estos espacios virtuales. Bueno, y el siguiente, también, bueno, fuimos parte, esta fue la última producción, porque no solo hacemos nuestra investigación artística, nuestras instalaciones, exhibiciones, sino también estamos haciendo colaboraciones, que es lo que les platicaba un poco con estos softwares, cómo tienes esta ventaja de no ser solo un artista visual o un new media artist, sino también puedes tener esa colaboración con diferentes áreas del arte, como es música o danza, por ejemplo. Entonces, este es un festival de música que se llama Reeperbahn Festival, que de hecho es en Hamburgo, y fuimos parte del Collide 3.0, seleccionadas como artistas visuales, en donde, como ya les comenté, fue una colaboración entre bandas de música y pues bueno, nuestros visuales. Y esto es más o menos como que la imagen de lo que ven que es como en este LED Cave, donde generalmente se usa para la producción de música, pero perdón, la producción de cine, pero en este caso sí fue como para hacer estos videoclips de las bandas y pues bueno, nuestros visuales estaban proyectados en esta pared de LED. Entonces, como ya dije, fue la colaboración artística, fueron 6 bandas de música internacional, o sea, unas venían de Alemania, otras venían de Suiza, también me parece de Inglaterra, bueno, meramente de Europa. Fue una total de 18 canciones con 18 visuales cada una. Fue una producción de 3 semanas y bueno, fue una producción in situ de 5 días. Bueno, algo que como lo vieron un poquito, bueno, no podemos obviamente enseñar tantas fotos a detalle por derechos de autor y lo que sea, pero bueno, el resultado final, como ya dije, van a ser un total de 18 videoclips que yo creo que sí, esperemos que salgan pronto, donde les decimos que es como esta colaboración, como las canciones y los visuales que creamos. Entonces, es muy interesante, y también como en metodologías de diseño, o sea, porque como ustedes vieron en el video anterior, pues fue una producción grande. O sea, estamos hablando de 30, 40 personas que están on site y aún así, o sea, bueno, fuimos capaces de ver como todas las dinámicas, que estaba como el director, el productor y cómo se iba moviendo todo, pues sí, para hacer como que toda esta filmación y cómo se estaba como ¿cómo decirlo? Comportando también el visual, ¿no? Cómo se estaba viendo en en la banda de música, los músicos que estaban enfrente. Entonces, eso es algo que sí se debe de pensar, o sea, obviamente debe de haber modificaciones y pues se debe de ser un tanto flexible, pero como justo el diseño de los sistemas autónomos para la generación de estos visuales en tiempo real es muy importante. ¿Qué cosa está influenciando? ¿Qué cosa? ¿Cómo está saliendo este resultado? ¿De dónde viene este input, este output? Um, si es un cambio de que si está muy grande, si está la velocidad del visual es como muy rápido, ¿qué es lo que yo puedo ser capaz de modificar? Um, y pues bueno, eso es algo que también ya lo sabemos, como también definir los estilos dependiendo de las diferentes bandas, porque obviamente fueron 6 bandas, pero no venían, como ya dije, venían de diferentes países, pero también tenían un diferente estilo. O sea, estamos hablando de que unos eran raperos, otros eran como más música electrónica, otro más pop o más indie. Entonces, como que también fue un momento donde era como definir tanto paleta de colores como movimientos, como si es más orgánico, si es como más, algo más brutalista, algo más como en tercera dimensión, que es lo que está plasmando también la música.
So actually like to add one more thing, like for you as the audience and also in the field of design, or like you study or you already finished and you are in the industry. We also thought like by working with the Reeperbahn Festival and like based in Europe, that the field is changing. So because there are new technologies shaping our daily life and also are integrated so much in like tools that are like, I don't know, just are there in the internet. We think it's also a new way how media art is integrated in industry. So in a way, this field we are working now in is a new field. We shape it by being, for example, selected for this festival, but also having the opportunity to get more jobs with this. So this is actually really a startup, because like there's the need to do something. And also like when you think about the future cities, they have maybe in the future like also this space for VR art, but also for visuals. It's in advertising, but it's also in applications. So yeah, that's why we try also to focus on our research to implement new tools. For example, we have like used artificial intelligence, and with Touch Designer, we were able to build our own API. So we connected it with, and we could also like in the statistic research, what was before we really produced visuals, you know, we used it and tried to figure out or expand our way of thinking and giving like the invisible a way to be visible. So as you can see on this tool we used, you can put every input and then you can generate textures, you can generate images, and it's a little bit different than just using DALL-E or like Stable Diffusion, and it's like only in the web and you just put something inside. And so you're dependent on someone, also on the policy of the browser or like the agency who is like giving you the possibility to use AI. So that's why we try or we used it, for example, in one creation for the band Black Honey. Maybe you want to add?
Yeah, maybe like just to add something, like also the advantage of having like this how to say AI or like within the touch designer is like, and I think this is also part of our research, right? Like we're talking about like computational language, like what is like this communication that we are having like as an artist or like as a human in general with a computer. So for example, as you are like seeing how we're making the prompt, okay, what is waves? Waves is sky or something, but also what we are trying in our research is to work in our own database, because it's usually, of course, like taking images from the internet in general, which is like, of course, like so like all limitless. But on the other hand, it's like also we would like to have it like as a maybe as a female artist perspective, and also like coming from a different countries or like non-Western alternatives, which is also in a way like to go beyond or like trying to transform or explore within the technology our artistic practice.
So yeah, what Michelle said is also important if you think about rights. It's not defined yet, artificial intelligence, if you are really able to use forever the content. And if you create your own database, it's actually kind of your fingerprint because it's your material. And that's the beauty about it. So like for this visual creation of the band Black Honey, we also created, or we wanted to show you how you are also able to just put any image inside in this build. So this is like a touch designer, and then you can go in different layers and then create your structure. And because we're speaking about immersive things, so like how use tools to be more immersive, the interesting part about it that you can even influence it in real time. That means like this generation of texture is like you can influence how you set the parameters and animate it. So this is just an LFO, like giving the direction, but you can define the speed, and you even can connect it with an interface to audio or camera movement or whatever you have in mind. So you have the possibility to really design your own interface. And yes, like we worked for Elastic in this corporation. It's in an agency in Germany, also focused on, let's say, design. And they built this tool, and we just wanted to show you a part of it. That's an interface design. So you can customize the ways how you want to shape your art piece or your research or your project. So this showcases an inspiration for you to really use it and shape the way or the control how you want to interact with the space, with your time-based material or with your product.
Right. I mean, that's like, as already Anna mentioned, like how it's important is like, how to say, like to look for the concept or how like the possibility that you have, right? For creating like these new textures or new animations or new style. And also what is like really something to like something important to consider is like the how you are adapting also and create, or like the creation of your artistic concepts based on the technology and the space that you have. I mean, in this case, of course, like we have like the LED wall that you can see there is like a little bit like I mean, it's huge. And it's something that, for example, like if you see it maybe in a computer screen or in your phone, it's gonna totally change the whole atmosphere, or like the way, like how it's like this immersive, or it is not immersive, or like maybe looking beautiful but doesn't have the same, I would say, like outcome or result that you are like looking for. So this is also something that you have to, or we have been learning through this path, how it's like changing, not only like coming from the very beginning, like to design this kind of interfaces or independent systems, but also what are you gonna communicate, you know, which is important because of course there is a whole work behind that is like unseen, or not everybody will be able to see it, but it's like important that you are also having this output or this result, which is like also satisfying for the client or for the audience.
This is just like a short, like 3 different outcomes. And as you can see, like you have your own style by using the software, because like you can use 3D objects, you can generate it inside of the software without any other input, or you use like generated stuff and play it. So as artists, like, or visual artists in the research, we had this communication with the bands and were influenced by the music as well. And yeah, that's like how it comes out.
Exactly. I mean, just like as Anna is already mentioned, right? Or what we were talking about it, like what is like the client, or in this case, like this collaboration, which is, I mean, because like you can see they are like totally different. I mean, for example, like this rapper that is in the very right, which her name is Rabi Kuma, and for her was like a really something important of the mouth. Like the mouth, it has to be like has been always be present in the video clips, in her songs, and it was like for me it's really important, and I want to do something out of it and stuff. So like for us it's always like having this input, what is like the wishes, what they also want to see, and how also they feel, like how they are like performing or like acting, behaving in front of our visuals. And also like this guy that is like another German rapper, like in the middle, he's always more like into galaxies, into the space, into something which is also like going through a little bit like the depression, or like as an artist, and how it's like ups and downs, where it's like more yeah, spacey, so to speak. And the other ones, well, it was more kind of vintage, but also a little bit like more acid and punk in a way. So it's like it was like really interesting to see like all these shapes. And in general, I mean, it's not only in terms of music and visuals, but also other productions that we have with other dancers or other artists that they have like already kind of an idea in mind, and we're trying, or we kind of do this translation into something tangible, let's say. Right. So a little bit of the conclusion, like of immersive technologies or like artistic research. As I already said, like, I mean, it's a lot about time and space. And in terms of production, you also need to consider a lot of stuff. I mean, who is like the team that is behind, who is hiring you, which kind of wishes the client wants, also what you are capable to do. I mean, which kind of equipment do you have? If you have like a PC gaming tower, if you have like an external graphic card, if it's like you are able to produce it, you know, because maybe you have like, of course, a lot of creativity, a lot of ideas in your head, but also you have to be aware of what is the budget or how much are you able to do. And which is also really important. I mean, since like my career here in industrial design, I would say I have never stopped learning, and there is always like a new software to learn and always a new tool. I mean, I guess you guys also know. And it's also like, in a way, like, of course, it's like really exciting, but also you have to, as I said, like you have to be really realistic or down to earth, what is like not kind of stressing you, or to say like, okay, this I can do like a really good job with this program that I know, and then, but you can also challenge yourself to say, okay, I can get familiar to this software, and just step by step, because in a way that's how you start also, like starting from small and then becoming something that is like actually developing. Right, and always be, as I said, like open. I think I know that AI or using like programs like Python or Stable Diffusion or some, I mean, DALL-E is pretty like friendly, but it's still like, of course, like sometimes AI is a little bit scary in a way. But yeah, I would say it's always like a part of it. And I think it's also nice, I mean, to have like somebody to share this fear and to say, okay, we're doing it like together, and to motivate each other, and also like bringing different inputs and into the artistic concept, or like talking with other artists. And right, and it's something that is like shaping still, like exploring and transforming the information, or what it used to be like design nowadays, or what is like they are art and design, what is like, if it's different, if it's not different. I mean, especially like for us, I think it's like this line is like so blurred already, because of course there are like so many methodologies that you can use. I mean, I would say, like, based on my experience here at the school, at the university, like of working with images, with 3D models, with proportions, how to use this, how to kind of think of a product within the space. I think this is also bringing a lot of value into these practices, because then you understand how you are like curating or like creating something that is like part of something bigger. Yeah, so anyways, I mean, if you are like interested, we will have like our immersive workshop this Friday. It's gonna be at noon. Right. So basically, like what we can offer, or like what we're gonna be doing, is like you are getting familiar with the interface of Touch Designer. You don't necessarily need to be like how to say, like intermediate or have a knowledge. I mean, everybody can come. And then we will do some explorations with visual projections and video mapping and audio analysis and motion tracking in order to do like something like an interactive concept in real time. So a little bit of what you saw in our kind of projects that we show. And yeah, that's it. Gracias.
So I hope nobody else has questions because I have a lot. No. Well, yes, but okay. So first of all, I would like to ask, what's your creative process? Since being an industrial designer, we usually have this initial process before ideation about research, and there's always about what's comparison outside of the market and what's out there, what's already used by some people, and all the functionality, function, those kind of stuff. But this being an artistic concept, how does that work? How does that process work?
Yeah, that's actually interesting. I think I mean, in a sense, like when you're still having like this industrial design background and also like being an artist, I mean, of course, like as a good as a designer, you are like following your favorite designers. I think for an artist, it's happening the same. I mean, I have like my artists that are like, oh, I always love like how they are like so aesthetically appealing, or how what they are doing with their work. So then I have it also like always in mind, like there is something that for me is like really appealing, so to speak. And also, I mean, it's kind of, I would say, for you maybe, like, I mean, how can I say it? Because like we were talking actually a little bit about it, because for me, I'm more like numerical, or I'm more about processes, or like more like, I mean, we have like, even though like we are together, but we are also having like different styles. And I mean, maybe Anna can say later like her process, because she's more in videography and how she's like making more as a camera and images and so on. But something that we share in common is, like, as I mentioned, these natural systems. Like we take a lot of, how do you say, like images or like references from nature. Is like always something that we also are always gathering. Like either we are doing like 3D scans of a tree, and then we are taking the texture, or from the water, or like from the earth, like really basic, simple stuff. And then we start kind of distorting, or like taking the colors and taking the, yeah, exactly, like elements, that we can really apply. But it's also interesting. I mean, it's also like these collaborations, because like with the music, for example, is like when we are like listening to the music or to the lyrics, and it's also already kind of bringing you like something in your mind, and to say like, yeah, this is like a feeling, and then you are like watching how they are moving, like the artists, which kind of aesthetic already kind of they have, and so on. So I think it's like, it's actually pretty dynamic. I wouldn't say like there is like a step 1, 2, 3 to do. So sometimes it's like, yeah, okay, like if you feel it directly, then you are like just like like moving parameters, or like having already in your mind and to see, or otherwise you are like going back to the reference, right?
Yeah, she just stated, but I like, because I'm coming from the field of art, so I studied with sculpturing and I also won prizes in this area. But then I was kind of limited in a way, because I liked so many fields in art that I started to, with the medium of video. So it's really related to music, it's related to the real world, but it's also related to software. And then it was also so limited. That's how I started with Touch Designer, because I've seen the boundaries. And when I speak about research, or like when you study art, you kind of, let's say, develop your own perspective on the world, and you find your theme. And in a way, our shared theme is like, on one hand, like the intersection of nature and technology, but so to speak, like making the invisible visible, because we, like in our daily life, we have like the routine, we go around, but we don't see the small things. And I think with technology, it's like an expansion in the digital space. And like Michelle already said, like when we have these collaborations, it's like not only the technical way we're speaking about, like this presentation was really technical because we wanted to specialize on how to use technologies and methods to create something immersive by regarding space and time. But like the statistic research is also still a process, because like each project we do, or each like let's say cooperation with a dancer, or like also like with music, or creating our own soundscapes, it's in a way a diving into a theme that we are really like attached to, or we want to express something because we see something in society that we want to make visible.
So I wanted to ask if this project was something that was born outside Mexico, or I'm sorry, I came quite late, so I think I missed the introduction. But I'm really interested because I have used Touch Designer before. Actually, when I entered here, I was very excited about visual installations and visual programming, but there's really not like an area here that's focused on that. And in Mexico, there are spaces, of course, and studios that work with that. For example, Mutec or things like that. I don't know. But that's what I wanted to know, that how you build that space, or where you build it, or how how it happened.
As I like, I mean, you're, I guess, like studying here, right? Industrial design. And for me, like we were talking about it because like I left, I mean, I'm living in Germany, and since 5 years ago, 5 years ago, I decided like to go abroad. And for me, it was still like, it's still a transition, you know, like because also like for me it was like industrial design and whatever we're doing here at the workshops, product design. And I mean, I don't know, it's also something that you have considered like your international exchange, which I think for me was like really, and I think for all the people that they had the chance or the opportunity to do it, I think was like really, really in a way like an opportunity to, like seeing a little bit like open, like being a little bit more like abroad of there are like other ways or to do it, or like to find your way, you know. I mean, I didn't even like plan it at all. And then happened that I got familiar, like I went to this university and I said like, yeah, I want like something different that is like from product design. And then I said like, yeah, I will choose this school in Cologne because they are like doing more service design, interface design, interaction design. And I said, I want to really learn that. But still I was thinking as a designer, you know. But then I got like more and more involved into these technology projects, concepts, and so on. And it's still a learning process. I think then after I did my thesis over there, and then I kind of did an exhibition, but also I didn't plan it. I didn't say like, yeah, this is what I really want to do. I was thinking only an output that I just had to do it. And then I just did it. I mean, I think it's also coming from the intuition or feeling, or how you're feeling like passionate about it, and to learning like new tools. Then in a way, this was like the starting point when I was like also expanding my kind of social circles, you know, because I was talking with dancers, with musicians. Then I got the chance to meet her. And it was like, yeah, you know, but there is like something, you know, going on. There is like this performance. Do you maybe, because you know this tool, do you want to be part? And that's for me how it started, actually. Because for me, I was like even thinking in going to an agency to be UX UI, which but still I was like, yeah, okay, I want to do it. I will do it because like this is the security, but it's also taking a risk. But honestly, that's like more, yeah, joyful in a sense, because, and then you are like finding the people, and then you are talking, and then you are like building something. And also this kind of collaboration, because like we were also speaking like how nice is like to also to finding someone which is like that having the vision or having like this kind of motivation that you sometimes don't have, and to say like, yeah, okay, let's do something, and then you're like feeling more secure in a sense, and then you are building something. And then when you're like showing also your work or speaking about your work, then it's coming, you know, like basically like these projects that we have was like basically because people were also recommending us, you know, which is like really nice, because we also didn't have to look for them, you know, like please hire us, but it was a more like, somebody gave, you are Michelle, you are Anna, you do this, are you interested to be part of it? And it was like something also really nice, because it's like you're having this personal direct feedback. And yeah, there is a lot of uncertainty, there is a lot of working hours, but at the end I think it's like whatever is your passion about it, and it's coming around, you know. What do you say?
I want to make some advertising for the workshop again, because actually we had like a nice conversation, and we spoke about that there was like, I don't know, was something like an anniversary of the university, and there was a big mapping on the surface of the architecture plant, and there was missing the tool. And this is like when, like, because you started with Touch Designer, so you might know Kantan Mapper. It's a really easy tool. So this is the way how you really integrate this tool in your own research. And that's exactly what we will do in this workshop with you. So we will go through different methods, how to shape your project. Or when you work with 3D prints, we also had this nice conversation. You can print it, but you can also have, like, let's say a white surface, and then you do the mapping of it. And I think this is like really encouraging you, especially if you have like knowledge with Touch Designer, to join the workshop, because we will explore it, and we will also try to work interdisciplinary. So it's beautiful if we have like people with different backgrounds.
Yeah, especially because like, I mean, the beauty of it, I would say, is like it's not so close or narrow only for you as an artist. I mean, you can be like designer in different fields, or even like for space. I mean, or to say like, yeah, how I'm implementing, or as you're saying, or maybe you have a product and you want to stage this product, or we are also talking about digital products. I mean, how you're making this interface, how the what is coming the user experience, and how you're like able to produce something behind it, and how you're like staging this product. I think that's like really an advantage, because you can use like, as she's mentioning, like 3D models, or also like video mapping, or like music, and how you're connecting with projects, which is like also really appealing. And to say like, yeah, as you're saying, if it's like the los 50 años del CIDI, and then you're saying, yeah, but I can do the mapping, and then you will do it, and then the people will know that you are doing it, you know. So it's a starting point, I would say.
Hello. First of all, I want to thank you for this talk. And it doesn't surprise me that people doesn't know about generative design here in Mexico and in other parts of the world, because like 6 years ago, I went to another university and I met Karim Rashid, you know, that designer. And the public asked him, what do you think, Mr. Karim Rashid, what do you think about generative design? And he didn't know even about generative design. That was 6 years ago. And that was a surprise for me, but because I didn't know about generative design either. And surprised me that he doesn't know that. And for that, doesn't surprise me that people doesn't know. And that's why you two girls have a lot of what it's called in economics blue ocean, because actually you are in the it's called in Spanish punta de lanza, because you are pioneers in this technology and you're using it for art, but this art is approaching more for the people. For example, when people in art that combine this industrial design or graphic design art themes. We can see them in album covers or graphic design, but this is a much more sentimental approach because you're hanging on music, and music is an universal language for me. And when you switch from music to shapes, from images, so I think that's a rich work from you, and I want to thank you that you present us that and here in our school. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I think it's like, yeah, for us, it's like, yeah, when we found out, because like, I mean, just to mention like something quickly, like for the thesis, like I was like just messing around with video and with audio of the birds. And I mean, maybe if you go into my Instagram, as I said, like you can see what I did. And then like putting it together, and especially as you're saying, like how it's like communicating like this different medium is what is like the beauty of it, you know. Like you are just, of course, as an artist or like as an individual or as a human, you're putting the parameters. Okay, this one is connected to this one is influencing. But then at the end, like how the computer itself, it's also like taking all this information from nature, from the audio, and how it's like shaping this new, how to say, result or output is like also the beauty of it, because there are like some things that you are not able to control anymore. And then it's like even surprising you, you know?
I will probably have my technical questions for the workshop. So this is just two last questions. You were saying that this is a learning experience. I mean, you just proceed with the development of your study, but yeah, well, you're always learning. So I wanted to ask you if there are some technologies that you haven't explored yet, but you want to explore and experiment in your scope. Well, that's one. And what do you see it's the future of immersive experiences? Those two questions.
Yeah, for example, like now we are working with a dancer, and yeah, she's like more like a cyborg performative dancer, I would say. So it's also like really interesting, like what is she doing, because she's like also like these digital bodies into VR spaces, but also like coming from the information from the real. And this is something that I think we are gonna start like this research about like doing motion tracking, but also like connecting with artificial intelligence. So it's like based on our own database, like as we spoke a little bit, but having like just real-time information coming from her movements, like in the space, and then being translated as a video in virtual reality. So what I mean, I did a project of VR in the university, but not yet for our artistic approach. So I think that's something that is gonna come, how is like real-time shaping in a VR environment. And yeah, also like expanding like augmented reality also. I think that would be something. I mean, we definitely want to go more into really hard coding for creating shapes. I mean, like you can also use it in Touch Designer, but it's like also like using already Python commands. And also what I did before was like connecting with sensors with Arduino, for example. But also would be interesting to connect it even with robotics. So because talking about like what is like the immersive experiences, yeah, like so far, I mean, we did like this sculpture, we have this video mapping, we have these visuals, but we also want to play with robotics, like lively. I mean, not only VR, also like shaping a space. And for example, there is like arms and robots like moving around the space, and you are like coming from the input that you are also making. So, I mean, it's like a bunch of ideas that we always have in mind, isn't it? And yeah.
Maybe about the question, also it's a matter of budget, and there are actually places where you can, let's say, write an application to do research, to really have the ability to use the tools. Because nowadays, it's still a limitation of money. So it's still dependent on technology. And I think that's also like the limit of our research, because like, especially she's talking about VR, real-time interaction design. And like when you look at softwares like Spark Air or something, like it's still not at the point that you really are able to create the idea you have in mind. We are still in the moment that the technology needs a little bit more, like, let's say, development to be open for the public. So that's also like maybe the answer for this immersive question. Like, it can be a future that we are like, because in Amsterdam, there's for example, a new museum, and it's just made of big walls, you know, huge. Yeah, next museum, it's like huge LED walls. So this is this immersive way of going to a museum where they put or they make like paintings interactive. But I think it's not really the way for the future. I really have the idea that we are like, with the Google Classes or whatever will come, we have the opportunity to, let's say, in a way, like Pulp Fiction way, you know, we have like this interactive space in our city. So it will be part, if our humanity is still alive then.
I wanted to ask some advice for all of us who want to pursue a career in this kind of immersive installation. Like, for example, I don't know if you could give us some sort of starter pack. Like, I don't know, learn touch designer for sure. I don't know, maybe get a projector, get an amazing partner, something like that. And also, how would you guys get clients? And, or I don't know, something more poetic, such as what things would you like to say to your old self from the past? I don't know, like any advice you could give us to start a career in this subjects?
So basically, that's a good question, because it's like how to run a startup or how to get the money, how to get new clients. I think there's not a recipe, but there's a way of recommendation we have from our experience, because like now this is like, so for more than 3 years, I'm in this field, like just getting clients. And it's all about, first you need like the social media presence. And then you have to, even if you don't get a lot of money out of it, you have to follow your passion to create your field. And then you will find your leads, because you will do cooperations. And this is the way how you start. You select a reference, you create a reference, and this reference, you publish it. And then like you can also write initiative applications to get new clients. And yeah, for us, it's in a way a self-running thing after we found our topic of research, because it's, yeah, let's say it's like a thesis, you know, you are doing all the research and then you have the output and then you have to print it, but then everyone can see it. So this is the first step. Do your research, found your field, specialize. And especially with Touch Designer, for example, there's a new trend that a lot of agencies are starting, like in design, also with this tool, because advertising, commercials, our life will get more interactive, more real-time interaction space. So this is the opportunity to get now into this, you know, software, shape your, let's say, product, and then, yeah, find cooperation partners. But I will give you,
I mean, of course, like if you have any questions, you can also write us. I'm like happy to answer this. I would say, I mean, also like based that we are more women here. Sorry, guys. I mean, it's also something like it's a challenge still, right? I mean, women in technology is still like something that we're like fighting for. And even though like, yeah, I mean, that we're fighting, and also we are like having guys, men that we are like supporting or respecting our work, it's still like not so easy. I mean, and we see it, you know, like being in the production of the Reeperbahn Festival, we were talking about 30, 40 people, and there were like only 8 women, which out of them were like only 2 visual artists, and the other ones were in public relations, in social media. So nobody, there was not like a camera woman Yeah, the producer was a woman. So I would say, like, based on my personal experience, like, I really approach also a lot of collectives, like in Cologne, based on females that are also like they are doing art, and it's more friendly at the beginning. At the beginning, also because it's like super scary when you're like getting into this industry, where also that when you don't have like the professional level that they are like asking for. I would say it's always nice. For example, like in Mexico City, we already saw like there is like the Soma Mexico, there is in the France Mayer, there is like collective of these females that are like also like, you know, like pumping or like getting into these technologies, are like in different kind of the fields. So it's like more friendly also for you. And you get like more confident about it, like about like finding also your way, like whatever you like it or not. I mean, plus what she said about like you really need to have something, even though it's like pure basic, doesn't have to be really crazy, but to show something, because it's always better when you are saying, yeah, I made this, okay, so then it's like popping the curiosity of the other person, you know, and then you start like developing, and then they, maybe you are like getting invited with them, and they are like, as she said, maybe at the beginning it's not like super well paid, but it's already helping in your catalog portfolio, and then you can, as I said, like the people will start knowing you, and then you also will have this more confidence about your work and your experience, I would say.
Sorry, I arrived kind of late, but my question is about how, like, what kind of skills do you have to have in this moment? I mean, as I'm a totally beginner in this kind of files, but but I already had this a little bit of experience in programming and I don't know, modeling, animation. So what do you think, or what kind of skills do you have? Do you think are really important? Yeah, necessary to be in this.
I mean, you're also studying here now, so I think like I think it's really a huge advantage also, like being like in industrial design, because as you saw, like the project that we did, that it was about welding, no, soldar. So this is also that you learn here, and the proportions, and it's something that you have like these skills behind. Definitely, I mean, when you are talking about digital experiences or installations, I mean, 3D, it's like really great. In this case, I think we're still learning Rhino here. Rhino works, but I think you should check out Blender. Blender is like this open source, and it's like pretty friendly, and this is like really something that we're also like improving, like to apply and everything. But like, yeah, in general, like 3D modeling is something I would say, how to say, like, yeah, programming, like in general, like understanding like a little bit like the computer language, like getting familiar, I don't know, because I also did a bit of HTML and CSS, that even though I don't use it right now, but it's helping me to kind of understand whenever there is a code going on. So kind of like have this language, or like if you go into C# and maybe doing like some examples with processing or Arduino. I mean, yeah, it's the thing is like you learn it based on the projects also, or like the experience that is coming. But I would say like, yeah, maybe like getting familiar a little bit, so it's not like out of the blue. So you should also check out maybe something like Unity or Unreal, if it's in a sense for VR, for example, or like to do like these high res renders, for example.
But like there's always a but. In a way, it's also not necessary if you see it as a tool. If you really found your theme, you want to really, you have to say something. This is like the need of your expression. Then you use everything as tools. So it's an extension of your hand. It's not a must have, or you have to understand it. They're like, nowadays it's YouTube. You can learn kind of anything by yourself. So it's not a limitation of like, what kind of skills do I need to do this project? It's more the way of how like big is my wish to get into this field. So in a way, this is also shaping what you will do. It's don't give yourself boundaries and limitation of software, because software is still developing and it's not perfect. So create or like do an intersection with all the softwares you need to express yourself, but don't think about it, I can't this client because I don't know how to use the software. Actually, we also have like clients and then we don't know exactly how the software works. And then we watch tutorials. So this is the way, like in this age of, like in this digital age, you never learn enough because software is like developing so fast that we can't give you the advice, learn this software. It's more like really find your way, find the thing you are like really attached to.
I don't know, like you just look in, I mean, we have like Instagram, right? Or TikTok or something. I mean, I don't have TikTok. It's always sending me like, look at this link. I always have to open it in the browser and it's like, damn. But I do have like the Instagram, as you were saying, also like what is coming, like this creative process. Just have a look. I mean, there is a lot of people and that's like connecting all over the world. And then if you're seeing like something that you're like, open like your curiosity, how she or he did it, how this artist did it. And there's, as she said, like there is a lot of tutorials, like asking the right questions in internet. And then you kind of also feel, okay, I did like it, or no, I didn't like it. So then you just go forward.
Muchas gracias, Michelle, Ana, muchas felicidades, Michelle. Y bueno, esta es su casa.